um, Lorian will be adding some of her own things into it, and they will kind of combine their their teaching and their choreography and the different parts and aspects to the dance. So they're going to kind of find an in between. And then Lorian will be doing more of the solos, and I believe that they have a trio that they're going to do as well. Um, so a long way down, we're going to talk about that. Now, I want to write up a date up on the board here. The date is September 26th, 2020. That was the day about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago when Julia Eskenroll was doing her, making her album. It was throughout the whole month of September where she was making her album Places of Vibrance. On this day, remember, we started out watching, reading, before I decided to change what, I was doing. And remember that the moon was in Aquarius, so it was double L. You're probably wondering, how do I remember this stuff? I just remember this stuff because I go back and I watch the horoscopes. It was super early. The whole theme of that day was, if I had to describe a theme for that day of what the subject would be, is reading versus technology and how we're slowly breaking away from that, and it's getting diminished, and how we're taking it for granted. I probably am taking it for granted as well. Just like, water. And I will admit, I did not like that day. I did not like the temperature. The lighting was weird. There's so many things, and I wasn't feeling very good internally as well. And I was just uncomfortable. On September 26th. But we were starting to read the Fahrenheit, and I do not regret stopping that, because with all the things that I was doing, I didn't know how I would be able to, really get into that. What I found, what I just was thinking about, and I started watching it last night, is how ironic it is that we're reading a book about the fact that books are being taken, and in a futuristic society we'll firemen, instead of putting out the fires and saving lives, it ties into World War II. And the Nazi regime, where they were taking books by Jewish authors and Jewish ideas, and they were burning them, and they were closing Jewish businesses. What if you took that to whole new extremes, and you were to eliminate the knowledge of the world by burning the physical books? And then you'd end up with the Oasis, where everybody would be walking around with their virtual reality goggles on, and they would be competing for that golden egg. Remember, we finished watching that movie last night, and although I don't know anything about it, I do know that there was another movie called The Avengers. And I just don't know anything about that movie, and I've never seen that movie. Let's see here. So, that's kind of the theme of that day. So, it's reading about, the whole idea of books and stories being, turned to ashes, so that, everybody would be, happy, and this and that. It's kind of like, The Giver as well, when they were eliminating, colors and, texture and, feeling, to create, peace and balance and harmony, to, like, the very extremes, and you couldn't, rebel against, the system, and this and that, which was a movie that was played, Meryl Streep was in it, playing, the antagonist. So, if you're thinking of that, the science fictional, things. So it makes more sense to see a movie of it, which is, very, very fitting given the time period that it was written and given the show that we were watching that is over now. 1966 movie. I want you to, just watch the movie, Fahrenheit 451. I think that watching the movie, especially before you, read a classic book, in particular, is, makes a lot of sense because you know what's going on. You know the basic plot. You have the movie done, and so now you can focus onto the plot and really focus and really get into it deeper. Get into the story deeper so you have the basic plot of what happens when you see the movie. Then you read it and you go deeper into the story. And for some reason, the movie always, sticks out. So you watch it, you get that checked off, and then now you can, look forward to it and be excited, focus on the book. So that's how that works. So, what's going to be happening is, Hugo Clubus, I'm going to have another meeting today. I know that there was some confusion yesterday, about if there was a meeting or not. It wasn't clear. I didn't have enough memory, and, my third in command curator, or my tech person, he uses Sunday as his day off because of, getting on the computer, and that's basically his whole job, because it's a tech guy of mine who, gets on the computer. So, I didn't want to, take up, his time and give him something to do. So, that's why we didn't have that. But I did want you all to look into, that section about Huga. And that's what we're actually going to be doing today. And then tomorrow we're going to be getting into light, on Huga. And especially getting into that more, in the holiday season. Let's see if there's anything else. I believe that I covered everything, so that is perfect timing. That is perfect timing right there. Nice to meet you. Welcome to my event, and I'm Trevia Truck. Lubimbi Novel. I just want you to welcome here. I know that you'll be going over to, Lubimbi Bellbooks here pretty soon, and I know that you're just making a stop here to talk to my mentor and, to meet everybody, this and that. And of course, I will be, taking you up there to see Lubimbi Bellbook. So I'm just going to get the light on. So I want to introduce the Edmonton and everybody, to Lauren Gibson, who, was in the show, right? And, you can come up and you can introduce yourself and you can talk about, your, style of, teaching and what, your, whole, philosophy is of that, because I'm sure that everybody is very, very interested and, curious to know. And then, you'll be heading over to, Lubimbi Bellbooks afterward. After, we can, chat and, get to know each other. And then, we'll go over there and, you'll get to know her. They're going to start working on things tomorrow, actually. And I know that Wimpy Bellbook has a very, special surprise for you. Um, what we do to honor new minting guests here at the Minton. So you can come up and do that, and we will continue with what we're doing. Everybody, I want you to be attentive and focus, and be very kind and respectable towards Lorian, and you can take it away. Okay, so we have to get on with the next thing for today. Now, I have a model because what's going to be happening is I am doing something virtual, kind of like a what's called a environmental what's it called? Environmental clubus kind of thing, virtually. And I haven't started that yet, but I'm going to start that later this evening, actually. So I have a model that I'm going to be hanging up. And this is kind of bringing it back to one of the side subjects that, I was getting into and you were getting into on December the 14th, which was Steve Wallace's birthday. So here I have different models of clouds here. Let's see here. I'm trying to think about, Okay, so I'll only focus on this section of it. So I have a couple of things here on the different types of cloud formations that I just wanted to show you. I've had this for, I don't even remember when I got it. But I just had it sit around for a while. And I just thought that I would bring it out and I would show you. So, basically, I just want to do this really quickly before we get into all the things that we need to get into today. So if you have, think about all the different cloud formations. Now, there's three types of cloud formations here. There is the cirrus, the cumulus, and the they're probably all different types of cloud formations. These are all, so, okay. Forget about what I said. So, let's see here. Wait. So, I don't know if that's... Okay. So this is the Spanish right here. And then this is the English here. But the pictures are different. So, yes, looking at all of these. So, there's all different types of cloud formations here. So I'm just going to list them off. So, there's the cirrocumulus, which you can find if you, look up. And, I would say that the cumulus, you see those puffy clouds in the summertime and the springtime. So, looking here at the model, you have cirrocumulus, which are high clouds with puffy, patchy appearance with small spaces between clouds. Often form wave-like patterns. So these are, that's that type of cloud there. let's see. So, yeah. So, let's focus on... Okay. Okay, I'm just figuring out how this is gonna work here. I need to look at this. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that's how it's gonna work. So, all this down here is the other language. But these are the English. So, the cirrostratus is clouds that you would find in the wintertime. Which, if you see it, I know, that I made copies of this, and you can go in, and you can see, what they look like. But they're high clouds, light gray or white, often thin with the sun or moon seen through them, usually covers much of the sky. So they're very, very pale, clouds that are very, very high in the air, and they stretch out, over a very vast difference, and you can tell that they're higher in the atmosphere because they're not as, vibrant, should I say. So, cirrus, definitely. So cirrus clouds, which are kind of, waves of, if you think about dust, and if you think about, it being windy. So again, winter, and, windy day. So high clouds, thin, raspy, wispy, and feathery, composed of ice crystals. So again, found in the wintertime because it's so cold. So then, this is divided into several categories here, which is, okay, I can't, so the categories, I need to look at this here to be able to see. So, one of which is, high altitude. The other category would be, middle altitude and low altitude clouds. So, high, middle, and then low here. So, 1, 2, 3. And there's more of the clouds that show up in spring and summertime that are low altitude. And I know that I said things and I changed my words, but I'm just trying to figure how this works out because I, barely even looked at it, and I can't get this to stick. Okay, what's wrong with this thing? I don't understand. Okay, I don't get this. Okay, there we go. So, altocumulus. So the middle clouds with puffy, patchy appearance, usually with spaces between clouds. That's an interesting one. So if you look at the, picture of how those look, they look like, kind of like a sea above, in the sky, moving across. Altostratus, middle clouds, light gray and uniform in appearance, generally covering most of the sky. Kind of storm clouds, and again found in the the winter or the late fall. Then we have the low altitude moving down here, which is the cumulus. So those are, like puff clouds. Think of, that song that we were listening to in June. Both Sides Now. I think it was like June 15th and 16th that I can remember that, either that day or June 16th we were listening to that song about, about Both Sides Now, and, clouds, ice cream castles in the air. But, they rain and snow, and then they block the sun, and they block the they block the light, and the light is linked with the good. Think of Libra and think of Scorpio again, astrological connection. Um, the low clouds, so low in the atmosphere. Clouds appear puffy and look like cotton balls, popcorn, or cauliflower. So definite clouds. And I think that what comes to mind is the stereotypical clouds. If you were to draw a cloud on a piece of paper, then it would probably be a cumulus cloud because that's the most common type of cloud, and you can find that cloud in spring or summertime or early fall. So then you have stratus. And all of these clouds are kind of interlinked with each other, and they all have their different seasons. So they kind of go off of each other. You can, you're separating them into different quality, different aspects: the high, the middle, the low, and also understanding the differentiation between the seasons where you would find those clouds in the sky. So before we continue, I would say late fall, winter, late fall, winter, winter, late fall, winter, spring. I would say winter. I would say spring, summer, spring, late spring. I would say this would be spring, summer as well. Spring, early summer, and then this would be spring and then summer. So then moving across, so we have the purple cloud, so which is the stratus cloud. Low clouds, light or dark gray and generally uniform in appearance and cover most of the sky. Fog is a stratus cloud. So if you think about very misty cloud, a very evening or morning cloud. If you're thinking about mist in the morning, think about that. And you think about the the purple light, and kind of very very thick clouds, and they may come before or after a storm. Moving across, stratocumulus, which are low clouds. Look at stratocumulus is now. So low clouds with irregular masses of clouds, rolling or puffy in appearance, sometime within space between the clouds. So that's not a storm-like cloud. So, again, very, very thick clouds, and that would be interlinked with the cumulus and the, this cloud over here, so stratocumulus. Moving to nimbostratus, which is low and middle dark gray clouds with precipitation falling from them. Bases are diffuse and difficult to determine because of falling precipitation. So, when, if you think about it's raining or it's, hailing, if you're thinking about, if you're looking at the sky here, so, one side of the sky would be, sunny over, let's say, to the south, the west, and then over to the other side it would be dark and it would be storming. And I remember coming home, going under the bridge from Chicago several years ago, heading into the rain and heading into the storms and heading into the darkness of the clouds, and all those things. And it was very, very bad weather going back, and I can remember several times when when I was going back from vacations and it was storming. I remember one time I was going from my grandparents' house and then Corning, and then I remember stopping at this convenience place that was very, very famous for selling pies, different types of pies. And we basically stayed there for the most of the raining. It was raining and thunderstorming, and we were checking the weather. And I was going with one, family member. I was going with, my mom, and then, my dad was driving home, separately, in another car. So we were separate. So, we had to stop because it was kind of, think about Vergonium, thinking about the sky getting dark, and then all the clouds gathering, and then all the, the wind, and then out comes the rain. Usually, during warm weather. So if you're thinking about the idea of Vergonium, thinking about the sky being completely dark and everything, all, it's, loud with the lightning and everything, and then all goes away. Because Vergonium is very sensitive to, what basically kills it is light and sound. That is how you can destruct Vergonium. And something deeper than light and sound. In, the middle of the countryside. So that was basically Vergonium. So, when you see, you see kind of, something falling from a cloud, not necessarily mist, over one part of the sky. It looks like gray coming down, like a jet coming down, bringing up a bad memory. That's rain. So, moving on to the very, very last one. I can remember the day that I went on that jet when I was a child and I lost my glasses. Cumulonimbus. I can't pronounce that. So large clouds with dark bases and tall billowing towers can have sharp, well-defined edges or anvil shape at the top. Precipitation can obscure the base of the clouds, can be accompanied by thunder. So if you think about in the tropics, if you think about, in a tropical area, it's also the places where these are classified. So think about the tropics, and if you think about, the moisture from the ocean, how it creates hurricanes, tornadoes, and how that would gather into the clouds, and then it create, the storm and everything. So again, something light with that sun can, eventually create, a monstrosity of evil of nature. So, I would say Alaska, tundra, those types of places, Arctic Alaska, all the winter places here, Colorado, again, very, very northern places like Canada here, kind of temperate zones, and, like kind of the Midwest, and, other, middle parts of the world here. Here would be, colder or, again, temperate areas. Temperate areas, I would say, again, warmer areas that have a lot of storms, like Florida, and then again, tropics. So, I just wanted to show you, that model because I think that'd be a good, opportunity to, look at clouds. Is there any on the back that I should, oh, okay, they're written in different languages. So, anyway. So, now we looked at that, we have to, really move along here. So, Google Club, this is going to be the very, very last thing of the day. So, I'm going to be erasing all of this. Okay, I'm going to be erasing all of this because, we don't need it anymore. Because we're going to be talking about Long Way Down. Because that's the thing that we're going to get into here. And I have a little, Kleenex here that I'm using as an eraser. So, that's one of the things that we're going to be looking at. And it's also biologically tied. So again, talking about the side subjects, things that you learn about or watch or read, or the places that you go and the thoughts that you think alongside that. So I'm going to just be writing just on the long way down, and I could make task cards, but I didn't want to go to the trouble. So long way down. So the characters. So what page that you should already be be on, and we've already started this already. But so anyway, and okay. Let's see here. I'm not gonna look at what's still, but okay. So you should be on page 18 already. Okay, or somewhere around now. So page 18 at the very most. So pages, let's see. Where does it begin? Where does the thing begin? So page 1. So everybody should have read the pages 1 through 18. I mean 1 through 17 already. So again, we're just starting it. So let's talk about the characters. So number 1 would be which would be, it'd be Will, or William, and I forget the last name. Everybody calls him Will. And so we have Will, and then basically living in the city, apartment setting. Then we have his brother, which would be Sean. The guy from The Good Place, if you think about it. The evil guy. So Will, Sean, his mother, I think that he also has a sister as well, and his friend Tony. Remember that they were talking about their height when they were 15. Just the Ides. Remember 15, Ides number. If we think about Julius Caesar, it's in March. So, here we have the characters. So, the first traumatic and sad thing that gets into the scorpionic aspects of the story.